Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. So today is the 3rd of March 2021 as I'm making this video for everybody. Let's just move the camera back a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I think this is going to be an interesting video because I've already pulled the cards for it and I'm sitting here quite blown away with what the energy is. The energy is immense. That doesn't necessarily mean easy, has to be said, but it doesn't mean that it's difficult either. It is, well, one of the words I've got is stretch. Okay, I'm going to be talking about seeing things from a much higher perspective than we ever have done in our lives. So that's sort of like the stretch. But equally, I haven't watched the video yet, but I will at some point. I know Phil Good put a video out yesterday where I think he was talking about the squeeze, okay, which I'm sure is also completely accurate. An energetic squeeze, I think he's talking about. And I'm being shown a concertina. I think they're called concertina. You know, the old-fashioned musical instrument where you would pull it out and then squeeze it in, stretch it out and then squeeze it in. And there seems to be this motion, but rather than doing it horizontally, I'm being shown it vertically. So it's as though we're being offered the opportunity to go much higher than we ever have. But then it's like this concertina energy coming down and squeezing a little bit to extract the, I don't know, the wisdom, the experience, the gifts, the talents, what needs healing out of us. So hopefully this is all going to make sense when I show you the cards. But before I do that, I also just want to say that I sat down this morning and I thought I was going to be doing a completely different video, is the first thing to say. There are actually some really big videos that are lining up behind me that I just need to find the time to bring through. And this week is pushing it a little bit. I am stretching myself to try and squeeze some time in to even do this video, but we'll try and get there. But just to say, the big videos that are lining up, and I can literally see them like these gigantic energies behind me where I need to be bringing out material. And I'm not quite sure which is the most urgent because they're all quite urgent. Number one, Ashtar, I'm going to be doing a video on deprogramming our minds because we are all brainwashed to a degree. And actually the degree of brainwashing is now getting so huge. And there is so much distortion and so much illusion, and you can blame it on this person or that person, you can blame it on the media, you can blame it on 110 other things. But what Ashtar's saying is we all need to be put through a gigantic jet wash, okay? And the only requirement for you going through this jet wash, he's saying, is that you have to be prepared to be cleaned. Okay, so if you go into the jet wash thinking, okay, well, I'm willing to have my mind cleansed, because that's what we're talking about, a cleansing, but I'm going to hold on to these beliefs and I'm going to hold on to this because this is right. Well, you're not going into the cleansing in the right frame of mind. Because the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And all of us, to a degree, because we live in a society that, such as we do, are fed bits of information, some of which are correct, some of which are incorrect, and it's just like a reset point. So that's a really important video. I'll be doing that ASAP. And you see, it's interesting. I want to say ASAP, and I never say ASAP. That's a good example. He's saying, well, why not just shake it up a bit and say ASAP? Why does it have to be ASAP, in your vocabulary? This is the whole thing. It's like change it up. Anyway, that's video number one. Video number two, those of you on Instagram know I've been talking about doing this week. It's not far off, but it's a video on evil and the nature of evil. And it's not as random as it sounds. It's actually to do with the fact that Jane Delaford Taylor and I are co-creating this Christ Consciousness deck, and this is the week that she's painting the devil energy, okay? And it's like devil consciousness rather than the horned beast. What does devil energy do to us? How does it get its hooks into us? And I want to bring through some teaching on that. And it's quite ironic, really, because I was sitting here this morning just chatting away to Metatron, as I do, in my head. It's not out loud, I'm just in my head. And I was thinking about the evil video that we need to do or address it. And part of me was thinking, yeah, well, that's people aren't going to want to, listen to that. It's that's going to be a real switch off. I wonder who will switch on for that one. And Metatron said to me, well, there's been a huge portion of the population that have been obsessed with whether you want to call it the cabal or anything else, deep state, over the last couple of years. If you put a couple of names in front of your video in terms of XYZ is evil, let's discuss, you'll get hundreds of thousands of views. If you just talk about the nature of evil and depersonify it, and by that I'm talking about bringing it back home in terms of us having to face our own darkness and the fact that we can all get hooked in to the energy of evil and draw it into us if we're not careful, because that's what I truly believe. That's why I give it very little time, and there will be a sacred space for this video. So we'll be able to talk about it in a spiritually mature manner, but equally it'll be owning it rather than just trying to deflect it the whole time onto others who may very well be evil anyway. But it's about broadening the discussion. So that's the second one. And the third video has now completely escaped my mind. What was? Oh yeah, the third one. This is why they're all important. I want to do a video linked into the V jab. Okay, because. Not in terms of, so many of you are saying, what does Metatron say about the V jab? I've explained clearly in my last COVID update that he is giving you the decision making, okay? Because you have free will, you're going to have to work this out for yourself, whether you have it, whether you don't have it. And that isn't the answer lots of people want, but it's the truth. But what I will offer, and what Metatron is very happy to bring forward, is some teaching linked into if you do choose to have it. And the truth is that certainly in parts of Europe and maybe the UK, we might be forced to have it at some point. I hope that doesn't come in as a timeline, but it's looking as though it could. If you are forced to have it for any reason, or you have had it, I'm going to be bringing through some apparatus, is what he's calling it, to diffuse any fear energy that you have around it, or anything that you may be pulling in linked into, if I have it, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's very much in line with the video I did on 5G technology, which I called from 5G to 5D. It's exactly the same principle, which is that anything around you can be diffused and can be programmed to the correct frequency. And we're going to be working probably with the Merkaba, maybe the Caduceus, which I can never say. Maybe I'll try and find out how to say it before the video. And the energy of Raphael also wants to come in, but it's going to be very much linked into the work I did from 5G to 5D, similar principles. And that goes for anything in our world, anything that you're worried about or that you fear. If you fear it, you're going to attract in that to your body, whether it's in the form of a jab or anything else. So those are three big old videos which require not just time to do them, but a lot of energy. Actually, there's a lot of energy. So I will do those as soon as I can. Those are the next three that want to come through anyway. We've also got Women's Day, haven't we? Or the International Women's Day on the 8th of March, which I think is next Monday. And I thought it might be quite interesting to try and bring through a woman. And I do have an inkling of somebody I'd like to bring through who's very, very controversial. And but hey, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? I'd quite like to bring Margaret Thatcher through. I really feel, whether it's on the 8th or not, I don't know, but I feel like I want to do that. Anyway, let's get into March's reading. 9 minutes in. Okay, 9 minutes in. Let's get into March's reading. So, what surprised me sitting down to do this was I always look around me for which particular spray wants to help, and, you know, I suppose be the focus of the work. And I was really being pulled to the Ashtar spray. And I was thinking, Ashtar? Well, I'm not planning to do a galactic video per se today, you know, I'm not planning to do the deprogramming, you know, our minds video today, because I know that needs its own space to do it. So I thought, why is Ashtar coming through? So I linked into Ashtar, and what I was shown is I often talk about Archangel Metatron giving us a bird's eye view, a higher perspective on our lives, our stories, on what's happening in our world. And it is a different perspective sometimes from what's going on the ground. And by that, I just mean that when you look very much from a higher perspective, sometimes you take a lot of the emotion and the drama out of it, because it's just literally you're looking down, it's like, oh, okay, well, they're doing that, are they? Or, you know, okay, well, that's happened because that's happened. It sometimes takes a little bit of the emotion out of it, which doesn't mean that Metatron doesn't care. He's just trying to help us understand. You've also then got Sandalphon, who works with Metatron, who is the boots on the ground guy. So they work together. First card I pulled is actually as above, so below, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But we're used to Metatron giving us a higher perspective. Back to Ashtar, it was like, okay, well, Ashtar's going to give you, when I say an even higher perspective, that doesn't mean better. It doesn't mean that at all. What it means is it's just, where's my globe? It literally is. It's like if Metatron can give us a view from here, Ashtar's giving us a view from up here, okay? And because it's that much higher, you're actually able to see even more. And actually, you actually take away even less. Sorry, you take away even more of some of the emotion that we can get very knotted in. You know, down here on the ground, on Earth, as human beings, we are living, breathing, you know, specimens of emotion. I know I am. And, you know, you can get caught up in your emotions. Your whole day can be governed by your emotions. How you react to people can be governed by your emotions. What you think about your present situation and what you think might happen in the future, it's governed by your emotions. But yet when you look from a higher perspective, and you know, the emotions are still there, of course they are, but you're actually able just to see a wider, higher perspective. It's like, well, yeah, okay, you feel like that today, but actually I can see this on the horizon. I can actually see that that's stacking up behind that. I can also see that from your past that's leaving. I can see this person that's coming in to help you. I can see this person that's actually on the way out because they were never on your side anyway. I can see this energy that's about to arrive into the planet that you know nothing about, that's going to change the whole thing. Think back, I don't know, 18 months pre-corona days, okay? Pre the pandemic coming in. Okay, some of us can look back and say, well, we knew something was coming in, but we didn't know the precise details of what was coming in. That changed everything, okay? So from a higher perspective, yeah, of course, Ashtars and Metatron and the like sort of knew. But again, remember, there's a divine timing in terms of when human beings are allowed to know certain information. So that's quite exciting because it feels as though we're being allowed, literally, it's like we're being allowed a higher perspective this month of March, okay? And I've got the hare coming up as a power animal here. There's a couple of other animals that are already appearing, which I'll show you in a moment. But I've got the hare, and I think the hare is here because, yes, it's a nod to springtime and Easter, so it's taking us into April as well. But I'm being shown a hare or a rabbit that can really jump very high, okay? They can jump. They are agile. They are, they're just agile, you know, they're ready to leap. A few days ago, I was thinking about this video and I thought, what shall I call it? And I felt I might even call it To Leap or Not to Leap. That is the question. because it's like a bit of a take on Shakespeare, of course, but I am still feeling that. It's like to leap or not to leap. And maybe we've been talking about taking this leap of faith for a while now, guys. Maybe in March, I feel we're being gifted a much, much higher perspective on it. There's a very big energy of air. There's the air elemental helping us as well, whereby, we've been stuck on that cliff top for a while, sort of umming and ahhing. Do I, don't I? Shall I take the leap into the unknown, into the next step of my future, whatever that is, for you, whatever that means. But it's like, do I, don't I? Do I, don't I? But you're looking at it from ground level. You're looking at it in terms of what you know now, the facts that you have now, the conversations that might have happened or haven't happened, etc. Okay? But from a much higher perspective, suddenly it feels as though there's this information that comes down, whether it's in codes, whether it comes down in light, whether it's something that you hear, whether it's signs, synchronicities, it comes down from very, very high. And suddenly we have this moment where it's like crystal clear. It's like, yeah, I jump, of course I jump. I leap, of course I leap. I was never not going to leap. And it's really interesting because this year, I don't think I said it, but I thought about saying it a few days ago on the 28th. It was the 1st of March. I nearly did a video where I was wanting to say, where's the missing day gone? And I completely understand about leap years and chronological time and why there wasn't a 29th of February this year. We're not in a leap year. But it's sort of like energetically, I'm now understanding what I was feeling. I was being shown by Ashtar. It's like, well, yeah, but time is an illusion anyway. That day, and even day is actually an illusion because human beings have just boxed time into day and night. But that day that you every 4 years call the 29th, but this year you don't have, it's never gone away. It's always still here. It's always accessible. You can pull that extra day in any time you want to. And so absolutely the energy of leap, we can leap into the unknown this March. But we're doing so from a position of power, I'm hearing. Note, power is not ego. Power is linked into wisdom. Power is linked into an inner knowing that comes into us, which is just, you know what? I'm actually hearing in my head, it's like I can't not leap. I can't not leap because I have this higher understanding and higher innate knowing that this is the right thing to do. And it's as though boots on the ground, Joe or John or Mary or Amanda or whoever, Sophie, they may very well be sort of like, yeah, but, boots on the ground. It's like, I can't see where this is going to go because that's the human mind. That's the ego. But yet from a higher perspective, which is your higher self is having a ball up here. It's just like, wow, come on, guys, we're already here because, again, time is an illusion. In a different timeline, you've already made the leap. You've already made the leap. So it's just the human body having to catch up with this. So definitely the energy of Ashtar, and I want to say the blue ray, feels as though it's going to be really important this month for helping us take that leap. Now, before I move on and before I show you these cards, I want to also say that we also have to respect the fact that chapters are closing out. As I'm sitting down to make this video today, I won't say who these people are for obvious reasons, but I know one friend of mine, has just had to let go of a pet that they loved dearly for over 20 years. I also know somebody else who is letting go of a family home that has been in the family for 50 years tomorrow, okay? So it's a big thing. You can say it's just bricks and mortar, but it's not just bricks and mortar because a home is a home. It has memories. It's a lifetime of memories within those walls. And so the letting go of a property, for example, which has been within that family for 50 years is huge, okay? In the same way that when you have to let go of a beautiful, dear pet, it's huge. When you have to let go of a person who you love, it's huge. When you have to let go of a job or an identity that you've loved, it's huge. said this before, but it's going to apply to many of you because jobs are changing as well. Some of these leaps into the unknown definitely involve career and job and identity. I'm losing track of time myself now, but however many years ago it probably was about 22 years ago when I properly closed the door on my corporate career life. I mourned that. I absolutely mourned that. And I had to honour that it wasn't just closing a door on a job and a title and a company car and the clothes and all of that. It was closing a door on a whole chapter and identity of who I thought I was. And you have to mourn these things. And so this leap comes in on the back of closing something out. It can be a little bit messy though, is what I'm hearing, okay? Because again, I keep being told, and this is Ashtar, you see, because I've got the energy of Ashtar here. Time, he keeps saying time is an illusion, time is an illusion. And it's very hard for us to get our heads around that as human beings, as Joe on the ground, boots on the ground Joe, who's just looking at the clock and it's like, well, actually it's 9:41 now and it's the 3rd of March. You know, I've got an hour and a half before I need my cup of tea or whatever it is, you know. Time is an illusion. It is actually possible for you to be closing something out or something not quite closed but on its way to being closed at the same time that you're actually stepping through the portal and you're meeting the new reality and your new self. It's much better if it can be more compartmentalized, but really that's my human self saying that. My higher self would say, no, that is a misunderstanding, Amanda. That compartmentalizing life into definite chapters is an illusion. And he's asking me Metatron's asking me to show you this card now. Okay, so this is from my own deck. This is the Tree of Life, okay? And as we know, Archangel Metatron sits at the top of the Tree of Life. Interesting, I've just thrown it on the floor. He sits on the top of the Tree of Life at Kether, and Sandalphon sits at the bottom of the Tree of Life at Malkuth. And really our journey as souls, as beings, is this amazing journey down from spirit into matter, into being a physical being that walks on this planet. But the journey is not just linear. The journey is the journey can go, if you look at the different paths, it can go many different ways how we get there. And of course the path is also upward. It's a journey down from spirit to matter and then matter back to spirit. And we are all somewhere on this Tree of Life. You might be there, you might be there, you might be there. But the point is, wherever you are here, wherever you are, and obviously these all represent different principles and qualities, and I'm not going to talk about the Tree of Life in this video. I'm just using this as an example to help you understand where we all are at the moment, which is, I'm wanting to say all of us are at different places on this tree. And you might be there, and you might be moving from, you might be here moving to there, but it's like, what am I trying to express here? Well, that's an interesting thing that I'm hearing. Okay, that's sort of blown me a little bit. That's sort of why I was stumbling over my words there, because Metatron's saying you don't know where you're going. Right, okay, you don't know where you're going. Well, that's the complete surrender of ego, isn't it? You don't know where you're going. This leap into the unknown, I've written the word trust down before I started doing this video. This is complete trust and complete surrender, because Metatron's saying all you need to know is that you're on the tree, that you are the tree, that you are the branches, you are the trunk, you are the leaves. You are also the air that supports the tree. You are also the water that supports the tree. You are also the earth underneath the tree. You are all of it. You don't need to know where you're going. There's some surprises in store, I think. There are some surprises in store. How you think it's going to be and how you think you're going to get from A to B, you might be going to be taking a different route. And I think this has been a lot of the hesitation in terms of do I leap or don't I leap? Because we're trying to control it. We're trying to control it too much. It's like, if I do this, then that will happen. And then when that's happened, then this can happen. And spirit is just like, not Not from where I can see it. Not from where I can see it. You're here, you know, wherever you are, and you think, you know, I'm going to be doing this, whatever, XYZ is going to be happening in my life. But from a higher perspective, it's like, well, actually, we can see this energy that's coming in. We can see this that's about to arrive. We can see this that's coming up. You know, when I talk about coming up, I'm also talking about energies within yourself, whether that is Kundalini energy that's going to activate, which is going to change your whole world, whether it's linked into energy that's coming up from your sacral chakra that suddenly stimulates something, passion for life, renewed passion for life that takes you in a completely different direction. I thought I was just going to take that job because it feels, you know, that's the next logical step. That's the next step on the ladder. You know, that's very linear. That's what I should be doing. And then Spirit's like, well, actually, you can't see there's going to be this other opportunity that comes in from nowhere that changes your world. But equally, it comes in as a reflection of what's going on inside of yourself. That the energy within our bodies, I'm just going to tune into that now, because if we're looking at the tree of life, which is basically the template and the map, and we all like a map, let's face it, nobody really wants to go out into the great unknown without even a compass or some sort of map. So there is a map, but it's almost as though, this is a weird thing to say, it's almost as though I'm being shown, we've got this, okay, I'm being shown another analogy now. We're sort of out in the wild unknown, and how interesting, the deck that I'm actually using is called the Wild Unknown Archetypes. Okay, we're out in the wild unknown. I'm going to call this video the Wild Unknown, let me just write that. And we're okay, but we've got this map, and it's like Jumanji. It's like Jumanji, that's what I'm seeing. It's like we've got a map, but there are various things that are not yet revealed on this map because the correct energies haven't come in to stimulate them or to bring them into being. It's like there are things on your map, there are things on your tree in your life that you can't see yet. There's something about Jumanji, I can't remember how the film goes, but I'm sure there's something about, there's a map, he has a map, he's looking at the map, he has to have a certain talent or gift to be able to read the map, doesn't he? I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on. Okay, let's get to the cards now. Let me show you the first card, the first two cards that came out. This is the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Kranz that I'm using here. Okay, and there is something in the name of the deck, definitely, the Wild Unknown. That's where we're going into. But equally, I'm sure she's called her deck this for a reason. The Wild Unknown Archetypes. There are archetypes within you that you don't know. You don't know. And what's so interesting about it is, I'll just give you an example. So I've been working a lot on my divine feminine energy and trying to, learn more about her, the different aspects of what it is to be female. And so bringing in the different archetypes of feminine, okay? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that looks quite good, and that's interesting, and I haven't used her or brought her out of the drawer very often, but might do soon, that type of thing. But these are all sort of known archetypes. And this is the funny thing, I was just starting to try and get my head around these things. And now it's like, yeah, but there's another drawer with a whole load of other unknown archetypes that you don't even know are there. You don't know they're there. You and I are one. We're all one. This is the thing. When I saw these two cards, I actually questioned it. I said, are these my cards? Because some people might see me as a teacher or a mentor, and I'm supposed to mirror back to people, what is out there. And to a degree, yes, they are. But they're also your cards. We're all mirrors of each other. We're all each other's mentors. Okay, we're all each other's mentors. The moon and the mirror. The moon and the mirror. That last Virgo full moon, I don't know what the hell happened, but something happened. I can't even tell you what happened. I mean, it might even be a bit too personal to say anyway. But I'm actually sitting here thinking, I don't actually quite know what happened, but I know something did. I know that it's almost like I'm being shown Merlin, and stirring his pot, It's like, oh, on that full moon, there was a little recipe put into the universe there for you, for me. And it's like, we're just seeing how that rises. We're just seeing what that looks like. And then we might bring that out of the oven and present that to, to you, to me, to them. See what they do with it. See if they are going to have a taste of it, interestingly. Okay, that's what I'm being shown. And the co-creation with, I'm just using Merlin as an archetype, okay? It doesn't have to be Merlin, it could be anybody. It's your higher self as well. It's your higher self and Merlin, although I am saying Merlin, so we'll stick with him, who co-created and concocted something, that Virgo full moon, which was perfect. How interesting, because yes, I know we shouldn't ever strive for being perfect. But having said that, I'm just having to deliver the message as I hear them. For some reason, this concoction, whatever was dreamed up, whatever was stirred into life around that Virgo full moon is perfect for you. Is perfect for you. Okay. The mirror and the mentor. Let's just talk about the eagle for a moment. So we've got the eagle. Again, can you see where I'm going with this whole reading? Again, the eagle is the one who flies high. He flies high. And he also comes out at dark. Okay? He flies in the dark. He is able to see in the dark. You and I can't. The owl can. Okay? The owl knows exactly where it's going. And it is a warrior. We've also got the warrior card here. It's a warrior energy. I've got two owl cards here that I want to show you. So the first one is the one which is the mentor, which I've shown you from Kim Kranz. I also want to show you John Mosley's depiction of the owl spirit from Spirit Cards. Okay, so here we've got owl spirit. And on this card, the owl is linked to observation, truth, and discernment. Observation, truth, and discernment. So another T word, truth. I'm going to put truth with trust because I've already written down trust and I now want to write down truth. Truth and trust. The eagle seems to go after... The eagle knows what it's going after, basically. Okay? It has its eyes set on where it needs to go, what it needs to do. Very wise, the wisdom of the owl as well. Wisdom. This is a month for you to be getting in touch with your wisdom. But again, I'm going back to that energy of stretching ourselves. Interesting, I did that then. As I was doing that, I feel like I'm stretching open our hearts. Okay? Remember, the heart has innate wisdom. The heart, when it's opened and you're allowing it to stretch, literally, stretch your heart, allow your heart to open. Feel the wisdom that wants to come out. What is your heart saying to you? But equally, I'm wanting to do this to us. It's like a shape-shifting type energy this month. It's almost like I don't want to be confined in this body anymore. And again, those of you that follow me on Instagram, I did that little weird video on the beach. Was it last week? Where I was talking about I'd walk down to the beach and I'm 5'9", so I'm quite a tall girl. And I was walking down to the beach and I was like, I feel like I'm 5 foot. I felt really, really small. But not because I was having a bad day, and wanted to hide under the covers or anything like that. I physically felt small. And it was like, it's happening again now. I'm sitting here and it's like everything is concertinaing down. But it was good because it was giving me a different version of reality. Not better, not worse, just different. Because I was learning something from that. Wow, the world looks different. The world looks different when I'm here. The world looks different when I'm here. Neither is better or worse, it's just different. And a lot of you were saying, well, I'm actually a small person. And and a lot of you were saying you'd had the same experience, that you were feeling as though you were a lot taller Literally your physicality, well, the physicality is not changing. It's your spirit. It's almost like Metatron saying. So he says, literally like your spirit is poking out of the head. That's what it is. It's almost like it's very, very fascinating, this, because, traditional spiritual teaching has always taught you've got to stay in the body. And, you do. We have to be grounded. That's very important. You do have to have your boots on the ground, and there's this whole thing about some people incarnate and they find it really hard and they struggle to ever stay in their body, to be fully in their body. And that can lead to you being very floaty, disassociated. That's not a good thing. I'm not talking about any of that, but I'm talking about an experience that seems to be happening at the moment where you're in your body, you are in your body, but it's like you're not confined to your body. It's as though the spirit is literally, I'm being shown, it's like poking its head out. It's like, okay, well, I know I'm normally 5'9", or I know I'm normally 5 foot, but actually I want to just have a look at what it looks like out here. But equally, I want to have a look at what it looks like down here as well. It's this whole thing about as above, so below. Wow. It is the concertina. It is the stretch. And then that. And it's that. And then it's that. And why are we doing that? It's like the hokey cokey. It's like in, out, shake it all about. You do the hokey cokey and you na. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. We've got to shake up the energy. We've become so rigid in terms of this is the way things are. Okay, this is the way things are. And this is what I know. And I know that if I do that, because this person said that, or I've been offered that, this is going to happen. And Spirit are like, God, are they not bored of that game yet? Are they not bored of that game? We are literally going to bring in, it's like this Twister type energy. I've never played Twister. Twister's that game, isn't it, where you're sort of contorted into weird and wonderful shapes on the floor. And you're literally like, you got an arm here, you got a leg there. You're like, it's just, that is where we're at. Because we've got to shake it all. We've got to shake it all down. We've got to shake it out of ourselves. What have we got to shake out of ourselves? We've got to shake out of ourselves the old way that life is. It's this very regimented paradigm. It doesn't seem to exist in 5D. 5D is, and we're getting beyond 5D as well. It's like, it's fluid. It's flowing. You are like the owl. You're seeing it from a really high perspective. You know you're on the tree, but equally you can go from there to there if you want to. You can go anywhere. And these pathways are supercharged highways is what I'm being told. Those of you that understand the tree of life, that's quite interesting information that's just come through. The pathways are supercharged pathways. It's almost like these, these motorways which can get you much quicker from A to B. This is like a helter-skelter ride, guys. This is change. Change can happen so fast, but you've got to take the leap. You've got to trust. You've got to know that what you're feeling, this is true. I can't ignore this anymore. It makes no rational sense. It doesn't make much sense, but I know it's true, and I'm going to have to trust this. And I'm going to go out into the wild unknown with this map, which is a bit inadequate actually, because the map that we're looking at, this is a combination of Metatron and Ashtar that I've got here today. They're both sort of chipping in. They're actually merging into each other a little bit, which is interesting. But it's like they're saying the map that you're looking at they're actually just wanting me to throw the map out. It's like the map of 3D Earth. There's a new map that needs to be birthed. Linked into, of course, all of the different vortex points and ley lines. And wow, who's going to make that then? Which one of you is going to make that? I'm being serious now. I'm just the person that brings stuff through. And then it's like, I can't make that map. I'm being shown that one of you has got the skills to be able to create some sort of map of the world, which has got the vortex points on it. It's got the moving chakras of the world. Okay, it's got the ley lines. It's got the the wonders of the world. But the wonders of the world, such as the pyramids, yes, they're there. Machu Picchu, yes, that's there. But equally, there are other wonders of the world, you know. And it's as though, what do we prize as wonders of the world in 2021 and going forward? And the first one I'm being shown is the ocean, for example. So the oceans, the forests, you know. And again, don't go into. I mean, it's very tragic what's happening, for example, to the rainforest, but the more that we focus on that tragedy, I'm not saying turn a blind eye, but we need to be imagining the rainforest coming back to life, okay? So one of the wonders of the world is an abundant rainforest. You know, we can co-create, we can put onto this map what we wish to leave our children and our children's children. We are starting to chart it, is what I'm hearing. Okay. So hopefully one of you is going to take up that challenge. Someone has to, I'm being told, because it's really needed. And it's not any of the old work that's already out there. You know, it's not about, oh, well, so-and-so wrote a book 10 years ago and they said that the Earth Star chakra was here or whatever. No, it's not that. That's old information now. This is something new. This is a new map for a new age, based on today's energy, but equally Metatron has got a sense of humour, because he's showing me somebody who's now co-creating this with him. Interesting, I use the word co-creating, so Metatron's going to help you, but it's as though you've got a pencil and a rubber, and it's almost like as soon as you put a marking down, you're getting the rubber and it's, oh God, no, that's already changed. It's like vanishing ink. It's like, no, that's gone, that's not right. So it is going to be a life's work, I'm hearing. But it's not, it's just something that you do as an act of love and an act of service. Okay. You never know what's going to come out in these readings. I'm always quite interested myself. Right, what else have we got sitting here? Okay, I didn't show you this earlier, but to go with the Tree of Life, we've also got the Chakra Light Body Activation card from my own deck, okay? I think quite self-explanatory, but I mean, this is basically showing you all of the light codes that are coming into your system. I always teach that the chakras are constantly changing in terms of which colours they like to incorporate. Ultimately, we're all going to be incorporating the rainbow light. But again, this is just a reminder of how much is going on this month. We've got the helix code coming down into our DNA. We've got the light coming down into our aura. We've got the light coming down into our chakras. We've got the light underneath our feet. We've got just light everywhere. Okay, so anything you want to say about that, Metatron? Chakra light body for March. Let's just keep it specific for March. He's saying you have to allow integration time. I mean, I've noticed that myself. I'm sure you have. I think it was, what day is it today? It was Monday. I got up on Monday and I had loads to do. I've always got lots to do, but I couldn't do anything. I actually sat at my desk and I wasted 2 hours just mucking about and, well, not mucking about, I just couldn't get anything done. I should have just known, you know, it was a lesson for me. Just when you can't do it, you can't do it. Just get out of the room, go and lie down. And that's actually what I did in the afternoon. I went and lay down and had to sleep. Next day, full of beans, totally motivated, etc. So it's to do with when you're being told to pause and stop, you're going to have to pause and stop. You're going to have to pause and stop, because this light that's coming in at the moment is from a higher place than we've had before, is what I'm hearing. So again, we've got Ashtar here. It's like it's coming down from a higher place. If we're being gifted the ability to be able to see from a higher perspective, we're going to be gifted light that comes from a higher perspective. So your body is literally like trying to catch up with it. Your body's actually taking a bit of a light battering. You know, I'm talking about light. I'm not talking about physical, you know, abuse or anything like that. I'm talking about light battering. Yeah. I think there's something else I can't quite get. What is it? Let me just pull one more card from that chakra light body. I feel there's another message. Chakra light body. Conquering fear. You see, I'm not judging us, and I'm not judging myself, guys, because I believe you me, I'm walking this path with you. Believe you me, I'm walking this path with you. This is what we've got to get past. You know, Metatron and the guides and Ashtar, they're all just trying to give us different takes on how to help us take that next step, to take that leap of faith. Conquering fear. Okay, he's saying just remind everybody that you are helped and you are supported every step of the way. You don't leap into the unknown alone. You never leap into the unknown alone. You never have to take the first step alone. You might feel alone, and let's be honest, all of us can go sometimes into victim mode, which is like, oh, I am all alone and I'm having to do it all on my own, and you know, nobody cares, nobody loves me, all of that. We all do that from time to time, everybody does. But ultimately, it's actually in those moments, when I've had those moments in my life, that's usually when spirit has come in the strongest. Not necessarily always in a tangible way, you know, in terms of, oh my God, you know, there's Metatron at the end of my bed. No, you know, in signs, in synchronicities, it can even be like having a really good night's sleep, you know, a beautiful dream, or just waking up refreshed, or, you know, spirit always helps you when you feel as though I just can't. And I want to go back to these closing out of chapters, because really needs to be acknowledged how difficult that can be sometimes. I do sometimes look at other stuff that's out there, and it's particularly some readers when they're sort of looking at love, and you know, it can be made to sound just very, very easy. You know, just leave, just do this, just do that, and it's like, you know, relationships are complex, life is complex, situations are complex. You know, it's normal to have great fear, apprehension, doubt, all the rest of it, okay? But again, you're just being reminded that's your boots on the ground Joe moment, I want to call it, okay? In terms of that is how I feel, that is real, that is absolutely real, it's 100% real, but it's because I'm only identifying with just myself and my body and where I am. When I become the concertina and I stretch and I reach up and I ask for help, and I remember I can do this stuff. I'm on the tree to actually have fun. I'm actually being shown like the orangutans in Jungle Book, you know, and I think they were a bit naughty, weren't they, the orangutans, you know, but they were having great fun. They were going from branch to branch, and they were nicking a banana here, a banana there, you know, very nice. All the rest of it is just having fun, guys. But again, they're in the trees. They're in the branches of the trees. They're above the earth. You know, it's like when we get so bogged down just in what we can see, what we know, based on what's happened in the past, that's where we get stuck in the mud. And that's where a lot of us are. So the guidance is go higher. But equally, remember this card as well, as above, so below. You can only go higher if you have actually, you know, you've got your roots deep into Mother Earth. But I think, to be perfectly honest, most of us watching are well grounded, and I think actually that's the problem. It's almost as though you're too just associated with what you can see on the earth. It's like, this is where Ashtar's saying, look up, look up, look up. Remember the magic. Remember Merlin and his magic pot. Remember the concertina. Remember there's so much more than you can see, etc. Okay, let's just bring in a couple of final messages here, which I don't know whether they're going to be related to anything that I've said yet or not, but they were cards that came up when I pulled them initially. So we've got the Warrior. I'm just wanting to see what wants to come through with this, the Warrior. And remember, this is from the deck, which is called the Wild Unknown Archetypes. So it feels as though, for some of us, it's as though being the warrior, holding the energy of the warrior, is a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm very much looking at the skull and the antlers on that card. And, you know, it's obviously what do they call it? A skeleton of an animal that's died. But yet the rainbow is over its head. There's a snake around it as well. It's as though I think there are some memories coming up for some of us, which is that when I was last a warrior and I really went for life, you know, and I really took that leap of faith. I'm talking here past lives. I'm not talking this life. When I really went for it and I went into battle and I was the warrior, it didn't really end very well. Okay, we've got death. That for me is feeling like an energy of death. But yet we've got the rainbow above it. There's no such thing as death. Death is an illusion. Death is the biggest illusion. There is no death. It's just rebirth. It's death of the body, yes. But your soul didn't die. Your soul is alive and well within you and holding that rainbow light. And the snake is wrapped around it there. This time I'm wanting to say that snake to me, I'm actually being shown it as like a poisonous snake, but in a good way, because that snake is protecting you. That's like a viper that is protecting your space, that is going out in front of you. And that, you know, if an energy comes towards you that is toxic, negative, I want to say evil, you know, that snake's going to bite it, you know. So it's like keep away from the warrior. You know, I'm protecting the warrior. The warrior is protected by the snake, and the warrior is also protected by the rainbow. The warrior never died is what I'm hearing. The warrior never died within you. Or the warrior S never died within you. There's a lot of you needing to hear that you are the warrior. Because the card that came with it is the sword. And again, you know, that... I just need to look at the card before I show you it. The sword. The sword that, for some of us, we lost in battle, in the grey, we lost in battle. In maybe one incarnation we felt defeated. It's rising again in this new dawn energy. And this time, it's like literally we're drawing the sword back out of the stone. And it's coming in with almighty power. Look at that lightning, almighty power. And this time the sword is balanced, I'm hearing. This time the sword is balanced between masculine and feminine energy. When you and I wielded the sword before as the warrior in previous lifetimes, we often did it in an imbalanced state, in a very, and what I'm talking about is an imbalanced state linked into our masculine and our feminine energy, probably an imbalanced masculine energy. So it's like, you know, the bloodthirsty warriors of old, you know, holding their swords up high with blood dripping off it, you know, and it's like, I want to go and, you know, do as much damage as I can. I'm going to win this battle at all costs. Bloodthirsty cries. No, that's not how we do life now. Okay, we're holding the sword with a balanced masculine and feminine, the moon and the sun. And this sword feels as though it is just and it's fair and it's only used in exceptional circumstances as well. It's actually more, what's the word? It's more, it's a bit like this. It's a bit like the snake. It's like if you've got a snake in front of you that's like, you know, people are like, oh, okay, I'm not going to touch that person. It's the same with the sword. It's a preventative measure. Okay, this sword is rarely used, will rarely be used by any of us. Doesn't need to be, because it holds the power by just having it on you and with you. In terms of the armour of God, of course, I'm just looking, the sword is the sword of the spirit, isn't it? Sword of the spirit. So we're holding that. And again, you know, spiritual protection. I mean, the sword is on our spiritual protection spray, rising out of the sea, actually, with the moon. So there's something here about being divinely protected as the warrior this time round, who holds the sword, who is balanced, masculine and feminine, who holds the rainbow light. I'm hearing your life doesn't have to be a battle, though. It's as though, again, going back to the changes that we're wanting to bring in, there's an energy that it's going to be a battle. It's going to be hard. It's going to be you know, someone's going to get bruised. Someone's going to get hurt. someone's going to get pissed off. Someone's going to get let down. Someone's going to be angry. And this is also because, remember, your new life, you're going to be embodying new archetypes. So people don't like people that change, actually. A lot of people, well, no, let me paraphrase that. The people that don't want to change don't like people that do change, okay? Because what it does is it shines a great big spotlight on their life, which basically says, so this person's changed, are you going to? And what actually happens is they dig their boots into the mud even more, which is like, no, I'm not changing. You know, what's wrong with them? Why blah, blah, blah. I mean, putting it onto a very superficial level, although, you know, it's important as well. It's a bit like when you go on a diet, okay, and you lose weight and you start to look good. How many times have you done that? And then the people will come up and like, do you want a box of chocolates? You know, I'm just gifting you this enormous, great big box of chocolates. And what's that all about? That actually is about, I don't actually want you to look that nice. I don't like the fact that you're losing weight and looking good, because actually that's making me feel as though I need to do it. So go and stuff your face with all those chocolates, please, and make yourself spotty and fat again. And then I'll feel a bit better about it. At some level of being, that's exactly what the person's doing when they bring those in. We've all done it, myself included, but realise what you're actually doing when you do that. If somebody's actually on a health kick, and I am on a health kick at the moment, you know, if you want to give me a gift, I'm talking about if you came to my door or my house, you know, bring me a fruit smoothie or something. That would be lovely, or a nice salad that I can eat at lunchtime. Don't bring me a box of chocolates and a great big bottle of Baileys, because that is actually pandering to my shadow side, which will be like, oh, fantastic, great, that's a great excuse. I'll get back on the diet after I've eaten all of these and drunk that whole bottle. That's not helping me. So how did I get onto all that? But anyway, how did I get onto that? I don't know. Must have been a reason. Anyway, when I look back at the videos, I think, oh yes, you were talking about whatever. Okay. Let's see. Shall we just pull a couple of final cards? Is there anything that I haven't talked about that I wanted to talk about in this video? I did write down a couple of songs. Well, there was a couple of songs that came to me. The first one, I think, is more of a love reference than anything. And it's by Adele. I kept hearing Adele's, well, I had to look it up. I wasn't sure what it was. I just knew it had the rain in the song. It's actually called Set Fire to the Rain. It's a lovely song, actually. And I think the relevant bit is this bit. She says, I set fire to the rain and I threw us into the flames. When we fell, something died. Because I knew that was the last time. Sometimes, yeah, it feels as though it's a song about saying goodbye to a relationship or a love, somebody who hasn't treated you particularly well, and it's like, that's the last time, and I'm actually setting fire to the rain. I'm setting fire to my tears. I'm purifying my tears. I am turning my tears and my angst and my trauma into the fire and the passion that is going to motivate myself to get myself into a new life. So that's the first song that might be relevant for some of you. The other two, I must admit, I've tweaked the titles. But I did hear them, so I'm going to tell you what they were. I heard Where Is the Love, Black Eyed Peas, great song, of course. But Metatron was saying, Where Is the Trust? Okay, it's almost like if you turn that song a little bit on its head and you just put the title, Where Is the Trust? That's what you're being asked. That's what Spirit is asking you. Where is the trust? And actually he's wanting me to speak a little bit more on that now, because it's like he's saying, where is the trust in me? Where is the, you know, you say that you believe in me, for example, Metatron, it could be any of them, any of the guides that you've got. You say you believe in me, you know, but do you believe in me? Do you trust in me? You know, am I going to, going back to that card, am I going to, if you call my help in, and, you know, the help is there anyway. If you're trying to make changes in your life, the help is there. Do you think that angel, whether it's Metatron, Raphael, Shamuel, any of them, or Ashtar, is going to be leading that person into a fiery pit? No, of course not. Do you trust me? So that's coming up. And then the other one, again, the word trust. Simply read, if you don't know me by now. I mean, again, it's a love song, but I'm putting it more in a spiritual sense. Again, the thing about if you don't know me by now, think about that from a spirit. If you don't know me by now, but equally, if you don't trust me by now, but equally in terms of relationships, I think for some people I'm talking to, it's as though if you don't love me by now, if you don't trust me by now, if you don't know who I am as a person by now, you might have been with this person for a year, you might have been with them for 10 years, 20 years, 30. If you don't know me by now, if you don't love me by now, what are you meant to do? Are you meant to just stay on that particular part of the tree and never ever move anywhere? I don't think so. I think it's about taking the leap of faith, the trust into the unknown. I'm not encouraging anybody to leave relationships before it's their time or anything like that. I'm just using that as an example. It can also be jobs. It can be anything in your life. Geographical moves as well is happening for a lot of people as well at the moment. I used the example at the start of this reading about the 50-year-old house that's being moved. Not being moved, it's being, interesting I said moved. I'll come back to that. It's being sold, but what Metatron is saying to me is actually, it's really interesting. He's saying when a house gets sold like that, where there's been so many memories and a whole life has been lived, and some of the people that have lived in it have now died, that house lives within you. It can never go anywhere. It's within you. It's part of you. In the same way that if you lose somebody in your life, they're always still there within you if you want them to be. The analogy of the pet that I gave, that pet's always still with you. Nothing ever dies. Nothing ever dies. So, but there is this thing about closing out chapters with respect and to move into the new. Let me just pull a card on closing out chapters. I did say that there were two animals actually that were around, I feel, this month, coming forward for us for this reading. I talked about the hare, didn't I, and taking the leap. I've talked about the owl, but I've also want to bring in the eagle. Again, it's a similar message really from the owl. Okay, so this is from Spirit Cards by John Mosley. So yeah, again, it's the same message, guys. It's just coming in different ways. Higher perspective, bird's eye view, but even above the birds. I mean, can you hear those birds? They've really been chipping in all the way through this session. I love the birds. Anyway, so eagle spirit, insight, perspective and spirit. Insight, perspective and spirit. Yeah, it's what I've been saying, different perspective. Having a different perspective so you can make the changes you need to make. Trusting spirit, having your own insight, trusting. It's the same messages coming through. Okay, I just want to pull a card linked into closing out chapters. Okay, this is from the Wild Unknown deck. Closing out chapters. Any guidance, please? Let me just have some water, hold on. Closing out chapters. What I want to say, I think, with regard to that, is that you need to be brave enough to realise that change can sometimes bring disruption to the old order. You can't have change without a little bit of disruption. It creates waves. It creates waves, it creates ripples. So we have the storm, which represents that, but then we've also got the offering, okay? You make the changes and you go into the storm because your higher self is offering you something else. That's why you're making the changes. You're making the changes because from a higher level of learning, you know that something else is coming in. Physically, energetically, it's coming in. Even if you can't quite see it, you know it's there. You're trusting, you're having faith. The other thing about this card of the storm, The lightning's on both cards here. You've got your sword. You're not going to need to use your sword, actually. But you've got your sword. There's nothing to fear from going out into the storm. You're not going to get hit by the lightning. You're actually going to be able to see in the dark. You've got your owl eyes. Okay. You are completely and utterly protected by spirit. The tree that you're on is going to survive the storm, as trees always do. Think of all those, well, especially in the UK, we've got the most amazing old trees. I'm sure in lots of other places as well. But, you know, I'm seeing like a really beautiful old oak tree in a forest that's been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. How many storms has that tree lived through? You know? How many batterings has it had from Mother Nature and man probably, but it's still there, thank God, you know? So the offering. Note the energy of that card, the offering. Remember, this is why you're closing out the chapters, because you know that Spirit is inviting you into a new dance, a new era. But that isn't like it's not a command. It's not like, come here. Look at the energy of that hand that's coming. It's just total love. It's just like, come, my child. Yeah, come, my child. I have a feeling as well that hand offering the new doesn't go anywhere. And what I mean by that is that, again, time is an illusion. So I don't want people to be sort of under pressure just because I've called this the March video. You know, yes, I do feel there's a huge pull towards the new at the moment for all of us. But equally, Spirit is just like, I'm waiting, I'm here. Come, my child. Come, my child. Because Spirit knows that you will. That you will come. You will take up the new offering. But when you have truly trusted and understood that it's safe to go into this storm, the storm is even an illusion, I'm hearing. The storm is an illusion as well. And being reminded that, I mean, even in my house, I have to be honest, and this is my mother's fear that I've picked up, and I need to let go of it. I know I do. You see, I'm choking as I'm talking about it. Dearie me, God. I hate storms. It's my mother's fear. I know it is. And it's because when we lived in wherever we lived, and, you know, when I was a little girl, a house around the corner from us got struck with lightning. Of course it did. You know, so that just totally reinforced my mother's fear. I mean, she's a very fearful lady. So I grew up with this terrible fear of lightning and storms and like wanting to go and hide in the cupboard and all this type of stuff. And, you know, certainly, you know, my daughter in particular, it's hilarious actually, because if we ever do get a lightning storm here, I'm still underneath the duvet, like, oh, is it safe to come out yet? Even though I'm trying not to, but I'm just being honest, I'm still like it. And she's sort of like, she gets really irritated because like she'll have slept through it. She's like, why didn't you wake me up? I wanted to go and stand out on the balcony and see it all. It's all perspective, guys, isn't it? It's all perspective. She enjoys it. She thinks it's brilliant. You know, bring it on. Bring it on. So she's conquered her fear in that respect. There's nothing to fear from the storm. Why are you fearing the storm? Why are we fearing the storm, Metatron? Why are we fearing the storm? Yeah, of course. Why we are fearing the storm, we've got the Mother Earth card, because you're not feeling safe on Mother Earth. But the card that also came with it, bottom of the pack, is Indigo, Mystery and Meaning. Mystery and Mastery of Life from the Metatron deck. And this is, you need to have the childlike sense of wonder. You need to be like my daughter who's like, I want to go out and watch it. I want to go and watch it. Not be stupid and stand underneath a tree with an umbrella with a metal spike on the top of it, you know, obviously. But, you know, just like, no, it's part of nature. Why are you, again, I mean, it's very obvious now as I'm saying this, why are you scared of the wildness, the wild unknown of nature? Well, okay, because that's something you've not, yeah, you know, it's indicative of maybe other things. It's like, get in touch with this more wild aspect of yourself. You're actually frightened by the wildness of the skies. Don't be, you know, they are an aspect of your inner wildness. Allow that power out, allow that wildness out, you know, free abandon, all of that type of stuff. That child is just full of wonder at the storm. Wow, look at that. Because the child that hasn't been conditioned to like go and hide under the cupboard and like, you know, the house is going to be struck by lightning in a minute and for God's sake be careful, you know, not judging it, but that's what I grew up with. Then, you know, you learn that, you absorb that, deprogramming the mind of that, deprogramming that, letting that go, realizing that life is this amazing journey, that you are safe, that you are supported. Mother Earth always has you. She always has you. Okay. So guys, how have we done? I can't read that. I think it says 1 hour and 10. If that is the case, I've probably spoken for long enough. I will leave it there and I will be back soon, and I hope that you're all going to have a wonderful March. And yes, I will be back doing those big 3 videos that I promised ASAP. The one on evil, the one on support if you've had the jab, to make you realise that anything can be transmuted. You're working with the frequency of love, and whatever the third one was that I promised, can't remember what it was now, it's gone out of my mind, but I said it at the start. Oh, Ashtar and deprogramming. He's wiped my mind. Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one in particular. Much love, take care, see you all soon. Bye-bye for now.